Hey everyone, thank you for joining us. This is episode 1 of Inside the Mind, and my name is Lev Willey. I'm a director of school relations at Mascot, and I have the privilege of having the microphone and the opportunity to talk with none other than Maria Kennedy, the former athletic director at El Paso ISD. Maria, hello. Thank you for joining us.
Hi there. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. The sun's out. It's reflecting on me. I look, a little pale, but that's okay. That's what the summer sun's for.
Got to wear some
And
makeup.
we can we'll put that in the budget next time for
There you
episode
go.
2. Yeah, that's so inside the mind, we want to take a look and get to know you a little bit better. And you are very well known throughout the state of Texas, especially in the El Paso area, being a really well known athletic director, coach from the middle school ranks, high school ranks. Maybe share with us a little bit just about you yourself, and that way people get to know you a little bit better.
Sure. Well, as you just mentioned, I was the athletic director for El Paso ISD. I just retired almost a year ago, June, and I spent 37 years in education. 20 of those I spent coaching and teaching from middle school to high school. And then the last 17 years of my career, I was either the assistant athletic director or the athletic director for El Paso ISD. We have 11 high schools, 17 middle schools. So we oversee every aspect of the athletic realm in El Paso ISD, from scheduling to travel to officials to you name it. Whatever entails, whatever anything that entails athletics falls in under our umbrella.
Well, from the first time you stepped into El Paso ISD, being a middle school coach, being a high school coach, a well-known athletic coach at that matter, entering the El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame. One thing that's never been shortchanged, though, throughout your entire time that you were there was your impact in giving back, to all sports, but really trying to make an emphasis on, girls and their athletic sports and making sure they're showcased on an equal playing field. This being the 50th anniversary of Title IX as well. I mean, walk us through. I mean, you had so many responsibilities as the athletic director. I mean, what was it like for you, or what was it for you inside your mind to make sure that those girls' sports got put on equal playing field, especially in Texas being a football state as it is?
Right. Well, as you said, 50 years Title IX. I was actually 12 years old when Title IX was enacted. So
We don't gotta say how old I was the
well, I
afterthought.
mean, that just plays into how I grew up. I mean, it's the equal playing field started, like I said, when I was about 12 years old. So I can't say that I felt a lot of the coming from a small town. It was pretty equal. Although I will have to say that my knowledge of girls basketball at the time was minimal, because when my dad would take me to a ball game, it was probably a boys' game. My very first experience is in 7th grade. I still remember the coach calling a meeting for everybody who wanted to play basketball, and I was so excited. I showed up, and she said, "How many players are there on the basketball court?" And I shot my hand up and I said, "5." Well, not back at that during that time until 1977, 78 in Texas, and I'm sure other states. We played 6-man or 6-girl basketball, and it was 3 half court defensive and offensive players and 3 on the other side. So actually 12 players on the court at any given time. It wasn't until 1977, 78, my senior year in high school, that they changed that rule. So you can see how already the dynamics of girls athletics changed from, just a few years before Title IX, or should I say a few years following Title IX.
And we continue to see it evolve, right? I mean, just the level of impact. I mean, the power for women's in their sports. I mean, it just builds more and more attraction as the years continue to go, and it's great to see. I mean, it's something, just for me personally, seeing like for me personally, like in our Mascot properties, seeing girls in their sports be really well recognized alongside like football. I mean, but also for you and your coming up throughout the ranks. I mean, you talked about your mentor, I believe it was Mr. Owens, if I'm correct.
Yes,
From our
Ken Owen.
time.
Yes.
Yeah, Ken Owens. And maybe just walk us through a little bit of that connection. We've talked offline about it a few times, how impactful he was for you. Maybe just walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, Ken and I started working together at Irvin High School. We were actually head track coaches. He was the boys coach, I was the girls coach. And we actually took two seniors. I had a triple jumper, and he had a shot putter who was a state champion that year, by the way. And so we traveled together. We got to know each other very well. And of course, years later, I moved on, he moved on, and he became an assistant. And of course, we maintained a relationship. But it wasn't until he became the athletic director that he actually reached out to me again and said, "Hey, are you interested in coming over?" And if anybody knows anything about positions in athletics, they're few and far between. So I knew that if I really wanted to pursue that, wanted to go in that direction, that I was going to have to make the jump when the opportunity presented itself. And so, sure enough, when Ken reached out to me, I applied and went through the whole process and became the assistant athletic director under him. And I have to credit him with a lot of my success, because even as the assistant, he gave me a lot of responsibilities. He gave me a lot of freedom to implement my ideas and my thoughts. I had the middle schools under my direction, and I really did fight for them. When things wanted to be cut, I said, no, we can't do that. I don't want to do that to our middle school coaches. They don't, kids really, they get so few games anyway in a season. And of course, the driving force from that is trying to keep them in our schools and not out on the club sports all the time. Taking the club sports have taken so many of our kids that it's important that we have good programs even at the middle school, so that we can keep our kids interested. So, like I said, he just let me do a lot of different things, and gave me the freedom to interact with coaches, with kids, and whatever, travel. I mean, just anything and everything that I thought I should do or could do, he pretty well allowed me to do.
Well, and that's something that, I mean, unfortunately, like in a lot of cases, right? I mean, people throughout the country just don't get that blessing, but they do have the blessing of getting the visit, like inside the mind of you right now. And so a lot of females, and a lot of people come through the ranks, whether they be coaches, they have that final goal of being an athletic director and making an impact, much like you did in El Paso ISD. And I mean, quite frankly, all the school districts around you. I mean, every time I call in that area, they always talk about, and they know you. And so maybe shed some light on what you would say to that coach, that person that was in a similar position as you were, that wants to get to that final point and just doesn't know how to get there. What would you say to them?
I would just say that be involved, put yourself out, volunteer for the things that others don't want to do, be a presence, always be positive. And in the female being an athletic director, I think it's really, really important that we are informed, that we educate ourselves, that we know what we're talking about when we go into a room. I know that when I became the athletic director, well, I was the interim for 9 months, and just kind of worked along. And I really knew that I had to have the buy-in from the football coaches. I mean, that if I could get a buy-in from the football coaches, then I thought, well, you know what, I have a good chance of making this work. And I really think I did that. I made them understand that I knew about football. I couldn't coach football. I can't draw up X's and O's,
I
but I
can't
understand.
either.
I understand football, and I think they knew that. But more importantly, I think we have to show we care. I had when I'd come home stressed about something and whatnot, I'd share with my husband or vent to him, and he'd vent to his friends, and his friends said, "She just cares too much. Why does she care so much?" Well, how do you do a job if you don't care? I mean, I think that's really I think my personal touch on that is I did care. I cared about the individual coaches. I knew what was going on in their lives. I made sure I reached out and said, "Hey, are you okay? A death in the family, a birth of a child," or, some of those milestones, the good ones, and along with the bad ones. I always made sure that I knew what was going on in the lives of my coaches.
Well, that's something that a lot of people can take and run with, because it's the little things that matter. And that's something that whenever I reach out, or people in our company reach out and ask, different athletic, coaches or people in that region, especially not just, Texas, but that region, they always talk very highly of that. And so, Maria, it's been an extreme pleasure and having you on. I mean, knowing you personally, if y'all don't know her personally, you should get the opportunity eventually. You'll run into her at one point, especially if you're in Texas. If you're not, come on down. Weather's great right now. It's hot.
We'd love to have you.
Yes. Maria, thank you so much for being a part of the Inside the Mind series, especially the first episode. I hope we can have you on again soon. And thank you again.
Thank you.